And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have in the house tonight a very honored and special guest for the Family Heritage Alliance action, and we would think for you as well. John Council for 8 years, where he helped pass several pro-family measures that were among the first in the type in this nation. John received a BA in history from San Diego Christian College in San Diego, California. He and his wife Sandy have 3 wonderful children. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to South Dakota, John Paulton, Citizen League Focus on the Family.
Well, thank you, Dale, very much. You can take the boy out of South Dakota, but you can't take South Dakota out of the boy. And having been born here in Rapid City and grown up in the Black Hills, it is great to be back, and even better to see some old friends and catch up on things. If you're expecting a long talk from me, you'll be disappointed. I'm after the Senate, I'm before the House. I guess you could say I'm cheap halftime entertainment. And I've also got, Norman has me on the clock down here. But Dale, I do want to thank you for hosting this. It's so important that we have these types of forums. Thank you for being here or listening on the radio. And especially thanks to the candidates for being here, sharing your views. We need to have these forums for responsible civil dialogue. There's not a lot, well, there are a lot of things that we have a lot of disagreement on in politics these days, and often it's very heated. But I do think that there's one thing that we can agree on, and that is the critical importance of the family. The evidence is overwhelming that families matter. When kids are raised by their married mom and dad, they on average do far better at life. And even accounting for other factors, other statistical factors, they have better educational outcomes. They are less likely to end up on drugs. They are less likely to spend time in jail. They're more likely to succeed economically. Now, for those of you candidates who are successful in being elected and going down to peer, either again or for the first time, you will spend a lot of time discussing these very matters in the halls of the Capitol. You'll be discussing education outcomes. You'll be discussing drug addiction. You'll be discussing incarceration rates and their costs. You'll be discussing all manner of economic outcomes for South Dakotans. And at the bottom of all of these things, at the foundational level of all of these things, for good or bad, are families. When families thrive, so does society. That's why Family Heritage Alliance exists, is to help families thrive. And that's why Citizen Link, the group that I work for and represent tonight, that's why we also exist. In 2004, Focus on the Family started Citizen Link, and it was, well, to back up, many of you know Focus on the Family for years and continuing to today has focused on strengthening families, helping couples, helping them as parents, helping them as couples to thrive. But we began to see that so much of the time, government policies had a big impact on the ability of families to thrive. And oftentimes, I'm not going to get too deep into the issues. For one thing, I don't want to cloud the discussion, the good, open discussion we're having here tonight. But to speak frankly for a moment, when government makes it difficult for families by, for example, changing the definition of what a family is or what a marriage is, when government imposes too big of a tax burden on families, when government backs immoral values that tear at the fabric of what holds families together, it causes problems. On the other hand, government can do good with policies going in the other direction. But the reality is that those things are especially evident at the state level. And I want to emphasize that as we're closing my comments here tonight. The national level is where the media loves to focus its attention, and understandably so. But the state level is really where the majority of these family issues are dealt with by governmental bodies. And I'm happy to say that around the country, there are some tremendous things happening from our perspective at the state legislative level. Good pro-family legislators are doing good things on a number of these issues that I've mentioned. And often leading the way are groups that we're associated with, groups like Family Heritage Alliance. We began starting those organizations a number of years ago, working with them, assisting them in various ways, behind the scenes, assisting them to become more and more involved on the political end as well, both the lobbying, the educational, and the political end. And it's making a difference. And if I have one word of encouragement, as the red light's shining at me right now, it would be, if you care about these issues, if you care about supporting the family, helping support pro-family policies and values, then listen to what Dale and his team at the Family Heritage Alliance have to say. When they say jump, you ask how high. They're doing great work, and we look forward to a lot more good things to come from Peer as well. Thank you so much for your time and for being here.
Thank you, John. Appreciate you being in the house tonight, John Paulton. Citizen Link, focus on the family.